Caitlin Clark is out again, this time with a groin injury, and for fans of the Indiana Fever and the WNBA at large, it's the kind of gut punch that leaves you breathless. Not just because it weakens her team, but because of what Clark represents. She isn't just a rising star, she's the beating heart of the WNBA's newfound surge in popularity. The league's ticket sales, merchandise spikes, television ratings, and even social media growth. Much of it can be traced back to her electric presence on the court. So when Clark limped off during the Seattle game, the collective gasp wasn't just about an injured athlete. It was a warning bell for a league walking a dangerous tightrope. The injury came suddenly, but in truth, it had been building for weeks. From the outside, it might have looked like just another hard landing in a contact-heavy league. But the signs were everywhere for those paying attention. Clark had been off. Her signature deep three-pointers, once so automatic they drew comparisons to Steph Curry, had all but vanished. She went 5 for 23 from beyond the arc in her last 3 games. That's not a cold streak, that's a red flag. Fans, analysts, and commentators began whispering the same question. What's wrong with Caitlin? Was she just tired? Was it a slump? Or was she pushing through something bigger, something the public wasn't being told? Then came the footage. During the third quarter against Seattle, Clark sprinted into position, received a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, jumped, and landed awkwardly. It didn't look catastrophic at first. She didn't scream. She didn't collapse. But as she tried to regain her balance, you could see the pain flash across her face. She grabbed at her groin. Her movement froze. Her legs quivered slightly as she tried to lunge again. And just like that, the slow burn of the last few weeks exploded into full-blown crisis. The crowd was confused at first. So were the commentators. It wasn't a dramatic fall, it was subtle, almost unremarkable. But for anyone who'd been tracking her discomfort, it felt inevitable. The concern wasn't just that Clark had been hurt, it was the way she'd been hurt. The wear and tear had finally caught up. And let's be clear, this wasn't an isolated issue. Clark has looked uncomfortable for a while. Warm-up footage showed her stretching longer than usual, especially on her left side. Her plyometric drills lacked fluidity. She winced on cuts, hesitated on drives, and noticeably avoided certain types of contact. There were times when she'd grab at her upper thigh after plays, taking a beat too long to get back on defense. Even the most casual observers noticed that something just wasn't right. The explosiveness that defined her game was gone, replaced by labored movement, missed shots, and the occasional grimace. Critics have begun to ask tough questions. Why was she still on the floor so late in that Seattle game? The Fever had the win secured. The seconds were ticking down. And yet there Clark was, running plays. That decision alone is now being dissected across sports radio, podcasts, and fan forums alike. If everyone knew she wasn't 100%, why was she still grinding through heavy minutes with no reprieve? Coach Stephanie White's answer only poured fuel on the fire. When asked about Clark's condition, she simply said, "I stay in my lane and watch how the doctor helps her." It wasn't the reassurance fans were hoping for, it sounded dismissive, even evasive. Did she not know the extent of the injury? Or was she deflecting responsibility? That's what makes this whole situation so infuriating for fans. It's not just the injury, it's the fog surrounding it. This isn't the first time Clark's been hurt. Remember the Liberty game? The one where she mysteriously disappeared from the lineup afterward? It was later revealed she'd strained her quad and would be out for 2 weeks. But that injury wasn't flagged immediately either. She played through it, and people noticed the same things they're seeing now: hesitation, discomfort, a visible change in energy. The pattern is impossible to ignore. Minor injuries left to fester. Fatigue ignored. Warning signs buried under a schedule that doesn't relent. The league has gone all in on Caitlin Clark's stardom, but has it taken the proper steps to protect her from breaking down? The timing couldn't be worse. The WNBA is in the middle of one of its most watched seasons ever, and Clark is the reason why. She's sold out arenas, driven TV ratings to record highs, brought in sponsors who once dismissed the league as niche. Her name and face are everywhere. And yet here she is, hurt again, held together by tape, and caught in a brutal game cycle that allows no time to recover. What's more troubling is the bigger picture this paints. Groin injuries don't appear out of nowhere. They build slowly: tightness, soreness, strain, and finally snap under pressure. This wasn't an accident. It was a culmination. And the WNBA's growing reputation for physical play isn't helping. It's not just about hustle and grit anymore. Fans have watched with increasing discomfort as defenders go after Clark aggressively, sometimes crossing the line between tough play and dirty tactics. Marina Mabrey's infamous eye gouge incident wasn't just an anomaly. It was a symptom of a league that's struggling to find the balance between competitiveness and protection. The conversation is shifting. This isn't about whether Caitlin Clark is tough. She's proven that 100 times over. This is about whether the people around her are doing enough to keep her safe. Because it's not just her future at stake, it's the league's. And fans are fed up. They've watched their favorite player pushed to the brink while vague updates and clipped interviews provide no real clarity. They've heard coaches dodge questions, seen trainers stay silent, and now they're demanding accountability. On social media, the outcry is deafening. Why wasn't she pulled earlier? Why was she allowed to play through obvious pain? Why is the WNBA allowing its most marketable player to become a cautionary tale? Even the league office hasn't escaped the criticism. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is under pressure like never before. Fans have accused her of prioritizing revenue over player safety, calling out the WNBA for refusing to crack down on dangerous plays. The sentiment is spreading: protect your stars, or risk losing everything they built. And there's something else fans can't ignore: the pattern of confusion from the Fever's own coaching staff. Stephanie White's handling of the injury has been called into question again and again. When asked about Clark's status, she gave unclear timelines. When asked about previous injuries, she sounded unsure. It all points to a troubling lack of coordination and communication. For someone managing the WNBA's most valuable player, it feels alarmingly careless. As for Clark, she's not speaking much. But her body language says it all. The winces, the taped legs, the quiet limps back to the bench. There's no hiding this anymore. This is no longer just about one player getting hurt. It's about the system failing her. The coaching missteps, the silence from leadership, the brutal physicality that's turned highlight reels into horror shows, and the suffocating pressure to always perform, no matter the cost. Caitlin Clark's groin injury is now a flashpoint in a much larger debate. Can the WNBA protect its biggest stars? Can it balance its desire for mainstream success with its responsibility to keep its athletes healthy? Or will it keep pushing, hoping no one else breaks under the weight? Because if the answer is keep pushing, then Clark won't be the last.